I want to talk, though, about this Mark Williams deal, which is just a wild turn of events. Last week, LA believed they had acquired its center of the future when they traded for Mark Williams. Williams didn't have time to unpack his bags before the Lakers rescinded the trade, flunking him on the physical. LA's reasons reportedly did not have anything to do with Williams' chronic back injury, which has limited him to 40% of Charlotte's games through his first 3 seasons. Believe that if you want. Your thoughts on the Lakers rescinding the Mark Williams trade?
I think this is a fascinating loophole in the NBA trade world, that if you have any regret afterward, I mean, do you even have to say what it is? I know you
Not
don't have
really.
to say publicly. I don't even think you have to say privately.
Well,
I mean, it can be a hangnail, I keep reading.
Yeah.
So
you don't, you can flunk a physical for any reason.
Right.
And you don't have to reveal it. Like even now, like we don't officially know. The Lakers haven't come out and said he failed his physical. They just said we are rescinding the trade. The obvious assumption is that Williams failed his physical because Dalton Knecht didn't fail his physical.
Right.
It's a wild move though. Like what is wrong with this guy that you are willing to pull back on a trade that would have brought you a 23-year-old potential franchise center? Like there's got to be something significant going on with Mark Williams to make them undo all that, isn't there?
Do you feel 100% sure there's something significant?
Do you
with
think
Mark
it's buyer's
Williams?
remorse?
I don't know. I'm speculating. There's no reporting here. I am just saying that it is curious
Is your reporting
to
looking
me.
at the expression on Dalton Knecht's face during the game last night?
First of all, Dalton Knecht has had the most yo-yo, has it been 96 hours at this point or whatever it is, and has got to be thanking the Lord. Everyone was like, oh, how's Dalton Knecht's going to feel some kind of way? I'm like, yeah, he's going to feel grateful is how he's going to feel. Can you imagine, first of all, okay, you're drafted to the Lakers, which was not necessarily expected in the first place. You get to play with LeBron James, you're in LA, you're wearing the purple and gold, all the history, you meet Kareem, you meet Magic one day, you do this on that day, you do whatever. Then not only that, the fans love you, they embrace you, you come in with Bronny, and like, boom, everyone's like, oh, Dalton Knecht, the Connect Four, the connection, all the stuff. Then Luka Doncic gets traded to the place you're in. You're like, Ma, I made it. Wearing the gold. Everyone's chanting my name. I've got Luka. I've got LeBron. Oh, by the way, you're going to spend the next 10 years of your career in Charlotte. Oh, wait, no, never mind. I mean, that's a crazy...
Dalton Knecht played his college ball at Tennessee. Maybe he likes a smaller market. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean,
who wouldn't want to play with Luka and LeBron?
I get that. You get a lot of wide open shots with those guys.
My point is, I don't know if something is really wrong with Mark Williams, in which case it's just a little bit strange that they sat there the day before and said, we've reviewed everything.
Yeah.
Rob came out and he said, we feel very confident. We've seen, we haven't seen him physically, but we've seen all the electronic records. We know who he is. That he's growing into his body still. Apparently, Kurt Rambis sat down with the medical staff.
Growing into his body. He's
and
23,
was talking
not 15.
About how big men still grow in their early 20s. I mean, they gave us all of this stuff about how physically they weren't worried about him. They gave up a tremendous amount of their asset pool for him. Mm-hmm. And I just wonder, again, speculation, wondering, not reporting. I wonder if this was purely, we saw something in the physical that came out of total left field and we didn't expect, or it was like, we got our hands on this guy and all of the issues we heard about are real and we gave up a lot for him. And I don't know if that was a good idea. So I don't know. There's no way to know because it doesn't have to be public. Do you think that ownership, Shams reported that Charlotte was talking to the league about what could be done here. Do you think there will be some sort of move at some CBA at some point for enough owners to sit there and say, we got to tweak this somehow that someone can't go back on a trade 3 days later?
If you fail a physical, fail a physical. Now, this doesn't happen very often in the NBA.
But should it be reviewed by NBA medical experts or something?
Maybe you can do it along those lines. But if a team, I feel like there's always going to be enough space for a team to kind of say, we don't like that, so we're not doing this deal. We're believing his physical has failed. Like, and again, this is not like I'm looking back at the number of times happened in the past. In 2009, the Thunder rescinded that deal for Tyson Chandler because of Chandler's toe injury, which was a chronic thing for him.
Which, by the way, he then went on to play a decade and help win a team win a championship.
Exactly. 94, the Rockets and Pistons had a deal involving Sean Elliott. Sean Elliott flunked his physical. He went on to play a bunch of more years as well. So it's not unprecedented, but it rarely happens. And I'm just fascinated by it. Like You had to look. The guy had missed 60% of Charlotte's games. You knew he was injury prone. But did you really believe that he wasn't gonna hold up for the long term? Because they didn't do this deal for this season necessarily. It certainly makes them better this season having a legitimate starting center in the full. But they were doing it because they want this guy catching lobs from Luka for the next 10 years.
I mean, I think they were trying to have it both ways.
Yeah.
Because if it really was about the next 10 years, I'm not sure that's the guy you go get. Because he does have an injury history. 60% of games he's ever been eligible to play is a lot to miss. So I think it was a little bit of, hey, Luka, according to reporting, had identified Mark Williams as someone he'd like to play with. I think it was a little bit about trying to make him happy. I think it was a little bit about, yes, he's 23 years old and be a great person to pair with a 25-year-old Luka Doncic. But it was also a move to have it both ways and tell LeBron James, hey, we still want to give you a good shot to win now, to win this year, to win next year. If you weren't worried about that at all, wouldn't you wait until the summer? And that is, in fact, now what they get to do. So again, I'm not reporting anything. It could have been 100% physical. I'm just saying I was a little surprised when I saw how much they gave up for him, considering who he is. We've all seen the defensive clips going around the internet, over the last 2 days.
We talked about this last week too. He's not a good defensive player. He's a good shot blocker. He contests shots around the rim, but one-on-one, he is below average.
Yeah. So I just I'm just curious whether someone there said, okay, the physical maybe didn't give some huge, crazy negative revelation, but it showed enough of the stuff that was a red flag to begin with, and they were just like, yeah, we don't want to do
What do you think, first of all, the fight over the winning the public debate it cracked me up over the last couple of years.
They called us.
Yeah, they called us. Like public statements saying after teams aggressively pursued Mark,
the other
we
team
decided to make
they didn't
this
even
deal.
refer to the Lakers in particular.
I'm waiting for Pelinka to release a photo of him and Jeff Peterson having coffee in Charlotte talking about this deal.
Yeah.
Like both these teams were obviously trying to salvage their relationship with the players, specifically Dalton. Like Cam Reddish is not long for the Lakers regardless, but Dalton Knecht, if he's coming back, they've got to get him mentally back in the fold. Same thing with Mark Williams. Mark Williams, a 23-year-old third-year center. I think he's extension eligible this summer. So you've got to start talking about this. But now Charlotte is apparently are they trying to put the deal, get the deal back on? Like they're going to the league according to ESPN.
Yeah.
Trying to revisit this. Do they want to retroactively make the deal happen? I don't know what's going on with that.
I mean, I don't think the league would ever force teams to retroactively after following a rule that's already in the rule book, failing the physical, would force them to do the deal. Would they come back and say, hey, we're docking a draft pick or we're sending something in one direction or the other? Maybe that's what Charlotte's hoping, but that's why I asked you about the rule change, because right now, LA followed the rules.
Yeah.
And and again, I'm not saying it was, if they just woke up the next morning and said, this was dumb, we didn't want to do this, the rules allow for that.
There was a quote in that Dave McMenamin had a story, and he quoted a team source where he said, we dodged a bullet. Which, okay.
I'm just, again, I am not saying that's what happened here, but the fact that this illustrates that the rules allow for that.
Yeah.
When teams have, again, look, in this case, it happened the night before the deadline, but Charlotte could have made another trade after this that would still have been valid based on the Mark Williams trade. And then what position would they have been in?
Charlotte's probably looking at Mark Williams now, thinking it's going to be really hard to reintegrate him back into this young team.
No,
B,
not just that, but go ahead.
Yeah, his trade value is kaput at this point because the Lakers just told the entire world that there's something wrong with him beyond just the back injury everybody kind of knew about. The Lakers just put a giant red flag on Mark Williams.
That's my point, is that again, I am not A, saying this is what the Lakers did, or B, blaming them because they followed the rules.
There are a lot of subsets here, A's and B's.
C, it illustrates how this is an interesting loophole in league rules.
Yeah.
And the fact that another team can change its mind for no reason if they want, again, not saying that's what's happened here, but they can, and devalue your asset and potentially get you in a knot of situations because of subsequent trades you might make based on this deal, right? The Lakers traded away AD. The whole reason they're interested in Mark Williams is because they traded away AD and needed a center. So let's say Charlotte had traded away Mark Williams and made some other deal to back up that position. They would still be on the hook for that deal just because the Lakers changed their mind. So again, I don't know what happened here, But I found the entire situation very illustrative of something the NBA should probably take a look at because it definitely hurts other teams and has the potential to.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm also curious to see how Dalton Knecht reintegrates. I get what you're saying, like get to play with LeBron, get to play with Luka. I'm also not sure that he wouldn't have liked the opportunity to play as a rookie in a low pressure situation opposite LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller for a few years. Like I know
if that's what he wants, he's not the guy I think he is.
I mean, there's an upside to that. Like, that's a pretty good young team when they're fully healthy. They've been kind of a mess the last couple of years, but Brandon Miller's out for the year. Like long term, it might be nice.
If it was you.
I don't know. If I'm Dalton Knecht and I'm looking at like the next 10 years of my career,
you don't want to be a Laker playing alongside Luka Doncic?
I'm not inside the mind of Dalton Knecht. I don't know what.
If it was you.
Some of those clips I saw though of him from Monday night.
Yeah.
Body language didn't like he was healthy, wasn't playing.
Yeah.
Maybe that was kind of like, let's just get your mind back in it. Being a Laker. I'm curious to watch him over the rest of the season. See what he.
I think he's going to be fine. He should be fine. And if this turns into some pouting or some whatever,
I just know you're anti-Charlotte. You don't love the Buzz City.
Charlotte's lovely.
You don't love Buzz City.
Charlotte's underrated. The lake is beautiful. I'm just saying, basketball wise.
LaMelo should have been an all-star.
Wow. And now we're here.